Hello there, you're watching the Pulse on the JoyNews channel. This afternoon, Ghana needs experience, not experiments. That's according to John Dramani Mahama as he declares to join the NDC flag bearership race. We'll get you the very latest from the Volta region on that. More controversy over the Electoral Commission's constitutional instrument. As majority leader says, no one can stop Chairperson Jean Mensah from laying that instrument to allow him in Parliament where a lot of action is underway. And how is Ghana's talks with China progressing? Government says it has been smooth so far, with the prospects of China either cancelling our debts or at least restructuring it ahead of the IMF program. We'll tell you more about the delegation that's just ended a 3-day talk with the government of Ghana. This is The Pulse, is brought to you by Global Communities, Dignity, Lu, Affordable, Safe Sanitation. I'm Blessed Sogah. We're on DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 144. We're back with the details shortly. Please stay. Well, this afternoon, 2 crucial vaccines for babies have been unavailable at the Adabraka Polyclinic Vaccination Center for close to 1 month, leaving many babies without shots. Mothers who had come with their babies to be vaccinated were turned away to come later when the shots were available. My colleague Mamiesi Thompson was there earlier and spoke to some mothers. There's a report for you.
After a month, nursing mother Florence Kwabla is back to the vaccination center at the Adabraka Polyclinic with her baby girl, Gladys. Florence is here to get Gladys' weight checked and her vaccination shot. She recorded a healthy weight. However, the oral polio vaccine due her is still not available for her baby. The last time she was here, she was told it was finished.
With the polio worries me a lot because the first day we came, they said there's a shortage. Another, then 1 month time we came, they said there's a shortage. So I asked them, is there any available at any? But they said there's still shortage at some of the polyclinics and hospitals.
Another worried mother is Gifty Odonko. Her 4-month-old baby Inshira has also not received the polio and the rotavirus vaccines. She wants government to quickly restock.
I'm
told there is no polio vaccine, so we'd have to return without the shot. It could expose her to diseases. I hope we can get it at the pharmacy to protect her.
Parliament's Health Committee took a strong stand to deal with shortages across the country. Committee Chair Dr. Efriye Ayu agrees that no child should be exempt from vaccination.
We are concerned because every life matters. And just as many of us here feel our sustainability has more been because of the vaccines we had at childbirth. We cannot deprive any Ghanaian that opportunity to live. And the absence of vaccines in the committee's thinking is inexcusable or unpardonable.
Well, the Ghana Health Service Director, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Bwaji, has assured stores will be replenished in 2 weeks.
If someone asked you, what are Ghana's top tourist, just 45 minutes from Takoradi, is Princess Town. 5 kilometers to the west is the seaside village of Aketechi. That is our next stop.
The fishing village of Aketechi is very lucky. They occupy a beautiful spot in nature. This is where the lagoon meets the sea. So you can actually see how the different bodies of water are combining at the head of the confluence right there. But the people of Aketechi, like many other Ghanaians, they have their beliefs. They believe that the lagoon is a holy deity which must be respected. Today we want to go close to the lagoon, see if we can spot a crocodile or two. But it's not so simple. In addition to a bottle of Coke and a bottle of Casapreco and a bottle of schnapps, we may also have to part with a few cedis before we are allowed to come close to their revered deity. Not only that, I can't go in with my shoes either. So I'll just lean against this strategically placed coconut tree and take my shoes off. Now, once we go inside, there will be a ritual carried out to invite the crocodiles from the water to come out and feast on the chicken that we have bought for their dinner. So let's go in and see what there is to see.
A thick film of seaweed covers the surface of the water. It's hard to tell whether there's any living creature stirring in the deep, let alone one that is responding to the loud calls of the priest. But suddenly, there she is. The men want to give us a show. They're teasing the crocodile and making her wait for her food. But the lady does not like to be teased. They've really kept her waiting. But finally, bingo! Chicken dinner. But for her, this will have to be a takeaway because Mummy has other mouths to feed.
Wow, well, I had to hold my breath there for quite a while. That was something, wasn't it? And no doubt, if you make the trip here to Aketechi, you might see even more than we did. The more chickens you buy, the more crocodiles will come out and eat.
Interesting. And that's Kojo Yankson there. He'll be back with a lot more. But this afternoon, the former President John Dramani Mahama has officially announced his comeback to the front line of Ghana's politics, insisting he is the best person to lead the National Democratic Congress into the next presidential elections next year. As he launched his campaign in the party's stronghold, the Volta region today, he indicated his focus is to address the economic crisis facing the country and one that the NDC cannot risk presenting a candidate without the wherewithal to confront the challenges head on.
This most depressing phase in our history, where our economy has been destroyed because of the systematic mismanagement, misguided and clueless policy choices and the incompetence of President Nana Akufo-Addo and his Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia. While our people struggle to keep their heads above water, government officials continue to exhibit high levels of greed, corruption, arrogance of power, dishonesty, blatant state capture, and conflict of interest. Unsurprisingly, no one in this MPP government wants to take responsibility for anything, including their flag-bearer hopefuls, most of whom were part of the economic management team, the team that was called the solid team. Today, everybody is running from taking responsibility. They continue to lay blame for their disastrous economic management on external factors, whose relationship with our present sorry circumstances are at most tenuous. We all know that this economic collapse has been years in the making, just as we know it was entirely avoidable.
Well, that was, of course, in apparent reference to those candidates who've cited and actually signaled their interest to contest him for the NDC flag bearership race. We have a lot of individuals contesting, Mr. Krobia himself, Kojo Bonsu, and the man tipped to give Mr. John Dramani Mahama a run for his money, Dr. Kwabena Dufo. We have a reaction for you. Right now, though, let's focus on the plans he says he has for the country. He says he intends to reduce ex-gratia beneficiaries and also scrap it for some.
Our country at this time urgently needs a leader with an unwavering desire to get things done in a no-frills, no-thrills, business-like manner. Not one enamored with sloganeering, excessive partisanship, personal comfort, and shallow populism. Ghana's next leader should exercise sound judgment and be able to make the right calls at the right time. A leader who accepts responsibility and works to fix the problem, and not one who shifts blame onto others. The leader should be one whose heart is filled with compassion for the people, and who has the humility to connect with and understand the needs of the people he serves. Our country requires a visionary leader who will build a prosperous and progressive Ghana for all Ghanaians and not just a few family and friends. We in the NDC will not run a government of slogans. Instead, we will run a government of action. As a leader, you should be held accountable for your promises to the people. Your word should always be your bond. Ghana's next leader should exercise sound judgment and be able to make the right calls, as I said, at the right time. Such a leader must continue, and for emphasis, have the humility and presence of mind to take responsibility. And as I said, in this government, nobody wants to take responsibility for anything that goes wrong. Our next leader should be a leader whose heart is filled with compassion, as I said, for the people who he has the humility to connect with and understand. He should not be a leader who views the public purse as a family japadier, or in English, heirloom, or even the mandate given to him by Ghanaians to govern. He must not view it as a manifestation of his birthright.
Well, Felix Ofosu-Kwesi, spokesperson for the former president, John Mahama. Before we start our conversation with him, there's a list of those who benefit from the ex-gratia that we want to share with you. That's on your screens right now. You have the President, the Vice Speaker of Parliament, Cabinet Ministers. We also do have ministers and non-MPs, non-MP ministers as well. We have members of Parliament, and we have the members of the Council of State. But then, Felix, welcome to the show. Thank you for your time. So when the president says, the former president indicates that he's going to, of course, review the ex gratia payment, where is he going to start from?
You would have to raise your voice a bit. I can hardly hear you.
Yeah, I was just asking about at what point, what's the starting point for the John Mahama campaign, if indeed you're successful and you get the nod to come back into power? Where are you starting off from in terms of reviewing the ex gratia payments?
Well, work on it will start the very first day President Mahama takes office. As you may be aware, ex gratia is catered for under Article 71. Even though the Constitution does not expressly mention ex gratia, it speaks about the emolument package of members of government who are captured under Article 71. So that provision makes room for the appointment of a committee to determine the emolument of officers classified as Article 71 office holders. So often, it is that committee that makes the recommendation for the wages and salaries and conditions of service of people like that. And then the payment of ex gratia, which is a lump sum payment, often calculated on the basis of 4 months' salary for every year service. Now, the way to go about it is to either amend this provision in the Constitution or put in place guidelines and regulations that do not conflict with the Constitution in order to prevent the committee that is set up from recommending the payment of ex gratia. But as a first step, President Mahama is going to ensure that to the extent that he has direct control over his appointees who form the executive, none of those appointees, irrespective of what position they occupy in government, would be permitted or allowed to take ex gratia, which is a lump sum payment given to people who are classified as Article 71 office holders. Then the Constitutional Review Commission's work, which began under President Mills, but which sadly has not been continued by this government, will be seen to fruition. There is some work that went on in respect of Article 71 benefit in that Constitutional Review Commission's work. It will be seen to fruition, and where there are shortfalls, it will be strengthened and concluded so that this particular position can be removed in order that ex gratia payments are stopped. When that happens, then members of parliament and members of the judiciary would then not be in a position to benefit from ex gratia payments. So if you ask me about how this is going to be done, this is exactly what I have thought out for you.
Are you mindful of the constitutional inhibitions? For instance, the committee, the presidential committee that's supposed to make the recommendations, those recommendations or whatever it is that they will tell you would have to be binding according to the spirit of the Constitution. Are you mindful of that?
Of course, that is why I spoke, and indeed, President Mahama, if you listen carefully to the speech is available. So perhaps after some time, you can take it and read it for yourself. He states clearly that there will be constitutional amendments to reflect this promise that he has made. Also, as I've indicated, the Constitution does not recommend the payment of ex gratia. It only speaks about the determination of the conditions of service and emolument of the 71 office holders. It is a committee that is set up to do this that then recommends the payment of ex gratia. So if the committee does not recommend it, it will not be paid. Number two, there's nobody who can be forced to take ex gratia. If you are entitled to something and refuse to take it, nobody can force it on you. Indeed, we saw sometime last year when Sogah returned the ex gratia that he was paid. So no appointee of President Mahama who serves in the executive will take ex gratia, even if the Constitution has not been amended or the process has not been completed as of the time that the time is due for ex gratia payment. But the Constitution review process will be seen to fruition in the period between 2025 and 2029. That God willing, President Mahama will become the president of Ghana. So yes, President Mahama is mindful of the constitutional provision, and that is why he has indicated exactly how this will be done once he becomes president.
Of course, all of that will be made possible if the delegates of the party give the opportunity to John Dramani Mahama to lead them once again. And he's been making a clarion call indicating that you need, as a party now, someone who's been tried and tested. Experience, not experiment. Why is he making those claims?
Well, I mean, that reflects the enormity of the task ahead. Now, President Mahama is not under any illusion whatsoever about the sort of damage that the Akufo-Addo Bawumia president has inflicted on our country, especially our economy. Our country is impacted. Our economy is completely destroyed. They have systematically dismantled any prospect that we had as a country. And they have left us there. We have unsurmountable debt that we will not be able to pay for several generations to come. They are implementing very terrible policies like the debt exchange, which is depriving millions of Ghanaian bondholders of billions of Ghana cedis that constitute their life savings and investments. We all know the sort of economic difficulties and hardships that Ghanaians are going through and how that is affecting their quality of life. So President Mahama knows how daunting the task is. It is the reason why he makes the point that in order to tackle this sort of daunting task, you need an experienced man. You need somebody who has been tried and tested, somebody who will be unfazed by the magnitude of the problem, somebody who would not have to learn the ropes of government, because you will simply not have the time or the resources for that to happen. You need somebody who is familiar with the terrain, someone who has been at the helm of government and has had the opportunity to sit back, observe, and reflect, and determine what needs to be done going forward in order to reset our country, pull it back from the brink of collapse, pull it back from the precipice on which it is fabulously hanging at the moment, and place it on the path of growth and sustainable development. That is what President Mahama promises. And that is the sort of experience and steady hand that he brings to this ticket of the National Democratic Congress for the 2024 election.
Right, but then the belief is, if indeed the NDC would want to make that point forcefully, there are some calls that you put up a fresh face, someone who would have the support of John Dramani Mahama.
First of all, what you need is someone who can do the job. Whether the face is fresh or unfresh, it's completely immaterial. So if you have a field of candidates, you look among them to see who can get the job done. If the person is 21 years old, 41 years old, 51 years old, 70 years old, and can do the job, it does not matter how old he or she is. So the issues about freshness for me is neither here nor there. Indeed, if you look at President Mahama's closest competitor, Dr. Ferdinand Dufo, he cannot be described by any stretch of the imagination to be a fresh kid. He's not a fresh kid. With the greatest respect to him, he is 80 years old. How do you describe an 80-year-old as a fresh kid? President Mahama is considerably younger than he, but happens to have tremendous experience that will come in handy in the management of a country that is as broken ours. So that, for me, should be the material argument, and not about whether the person's face is fresh or wrinkled.
Okay, Felix, just hold the lines for us briefly, because the Dufo campaign disagree with the former president. Antonio Edem Ashino speaks for the campaign. And Edem, you've just been hearing from Felix. He talks about the fact that, in fact, your candidate cannot be described as a new face. Kindly unmute for me so I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Oh, thank you. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to Felix and to your viewers as well. Is Dr. Dufo a new face? Certainly not a new face in Ghana, but he's going to be a fresh, trusted hand to handle the affairs of this party.
Felix disagrees with you on that score.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I can speak to the issue. I mean, this is a man who, as finance minister, aside performing excellently, never took salary. This is a man, as finance minister and a member of the NDC, gave his gratia back. So, in fact, what they want to do now is something he's done before. So, when you're talking about experience, he's lived it. I mean, we saw the endorsement the country gave Toby Afede when he returned his gratia. This is a gentleman who did it in the quiet, and they know it. So, in terms of principle, in terms of someone that we can trust to deliver these things that they are promising, he's already doing it and he's going to do it. And that is where the argument of experience comes in. He's experienced what it takes, because all of them have held political office before. Did they take their salary? Did they take their gratias? They can't speak to it. But I'm telling you on authority, with a specific claim being made now, in terms of major promise that we are hearing now, Dr. Dufour, as a public servant, did not take his salary. When he was given his gratia, as a matter of principle, he handed over the his gratia back for development. So yes, those calls are good, but it's something that Dr. Dufour is doing already. And when we are going to talk about experience, that is where it falls. Experience under him.
Adam, let's get a quick response on that. Felix, the question about former President John Dramani Mahama being imposed all this while, he's enjoyed the same ex gratia he wants to scrap. What then should give us that sense of hope that indeed he'll stick to his words?
Well, to begin with, Dr. Dufour has not promised to scrap his gratia. He has said nothing about his gratia. So whether he took salary or did not take salary is completely immaterial. In any event, it is not entirely true that Dr. Dufour did not take salary. What he did was that he had been governor of the Bank of Ghana. And the governor of the Bank of Ghana has better conditions of service than the finance minister. What happened is that the governor of the Bank of Ghana retires on his salary and gets some of the benefits of the governor, of the present governor. So he made a choice between the package as finance minister and the package as governor. And he chose to stick with his entitlements as governor, even as he had retired from that position. So that distinction must be made. It is quite misleading to create the impression that he was working for free. He was not. He was still getting his conditions of service as governor, even in retirement, as all past governors do. The other point is that he has never said anywhere that he will scrap ex-gratia. So what Ghanaians are looking for is a leader who will stop the payment of ex-gratia, not a leader who has not taken the ex-gratia. That distinction must clearly be drawn. When his opponents have made a promise, you must take your position on the matter at hand. Does Dr. Dufour believe that ex-gratia payment should be scrapped or not? Personal charity or a personal decision not to take something is separate from a policy position that does not ensure that the thing is paid to all civil service bank officials. So that must be put on record.
Okay, beyond that, you know that the race is heating up, and
can I come in, my brother?
Yeah, just go ahead then.
Okay, I mean, Felix does not dispute the fact that Dr. Dufour did not take his ex gratia. Dr. Dufour indeed has demonstrated that the argument of ex gratia, or the Ghanaians basically not liking political office holders taking ex gratia, is something he does not believe in. So as whether it's policy matter or not, is neither here nor there. He's demonstrated in his personal capacity that he did not take ex gratia when he was entitled to. So that, for me, should speak to the principle. Secondly, Felix talks about Dr. Dufour deciding on the policy position. This contest is a grassroots contest, and Dr. Dufour's focus is on the grassroots. He's promised to restore the Hero Fund. He's promised to build regional offices for their party. He's promised to give decent offices to the parties. This is an NDC presidential contest, and he believes that strengthening the grassroots is what the focus should be.
And beyond the NDC, beyond the NDC, you have a country to fix.
Sure, the country to fix, and Dr. Dufour has given the roadmap. He's told you that within 2 years, he's going to put us back on recovery. What a leader does when he meets or inherits anything, whether narrow fiscal space or small fiscal space, is to create the fiscal space. Dr. Dufour assisted as finance minister to create the needed fiscal space in 2009. And he's saying that he's going to create the fiscal space, and within the second year, this country will see prosperity. That's a leader who knows how to do it. And that's the leader who has the experience on what because you need a fiscal space to build the rules and build all the development you are talking about. So it's not about constitutional review or continuing project. What is needed is opening up the fiscal space, and this is a leader who knows how to build up a fiscal space for us to develop as a country.
Okay.
So beyond it being a political contest, he knows what is needed to fix the country, particularly the challenge that we have, which is economy.
Okay, let's listen to some Ghanaians on the streets of Accra, because JoyNews has been asking them about, and not just the Ghanaians, we'll get to that, but even MPs have been reacting to this announcement by John Mahama today that the ex gratia will be scrapped once he becomes president. Let's listen in, and Felix, I'll take your thoughts on this.
It's word abreast about the constitution in Ghana. And Article 71 is entrenched constitution provisions that if you want to scrap it, you have to amend it through referendum. So maybe, I don't know where he's picking the provisional from the constitution, but I'm saying that John Mahama has launched his campaign. NDC, they don't have anybody who can finance their campaign. That's why they are bringing him. But Ghanaians know what John Mahama did for Ghana. And I don't think he's bringing any new ideas. That's the old story that he's come to repeat. He has an opportunity to rule this country for 8 years. Just 4 years. He couldn't manage Ghana, providing 24 lights for Ghana. He couldn't. And today he's telling us that he's bringing a new ideas. What ideas again John Mahama is bringing to Ghana? Come and repeat the doomsaw? Scrap the nurses allowance, teachers allowance?
I mean, if you say benefits, you have been here with me. I don't know the benefits they are talking about, but I'm here too. But I know certain Article 71 people enjoy housing. I don't enjoy housing. You know that. I mean, they are police. I mean, they retire on their salaries. I don't retire my salary. You know that. Indeed, they get fuel coupons. You know I don't get fuel coupon. You and I, you always come to me and I tell you, we need to go and buy. I get it. They have paid drivers. You know, I don't have a paid driver. So if it's Article 71, well, he has been there before. He knows what is in it. I'm sure he knows the package. I am here to experience the package. They said there's an ex gratia. I just realized that there's no anything called ex gratia. I've been here for 3-4 years. They've not even increased my salary for just a month. But they've increased every public servant's salary. It doesn't mean, of course. So at the end of the year, if they say, oh, we increase your salary and get this, that's not ex gratia. But I also think it's a good call. I mean, we need to review some parts of our constitution. And it's an area that I think we need to review to be able to get the balance. Because sometimes, obviously, some of the waste also goes through those places. And if we can review it, because it's an entrenched clause. So we need to do a referendum and do all that before we can get it. So if we can be able to get it, fine.
Action of some members of parliament. Felix, your take on that?
Well, I mean, you expect the MPP to be as pedantic, pedestrian, and as ridiculous as the MP found. President Mahama, the former, as president, was vastly superior to anything Akufo-Addo and Bawumia have provided. And the records show it. There's not one single metric in which this MPP government has better than President Mahama. So even on his past record alone, he deserves to have this Akufo-Addo Bawumia government putted up at the earliest opportunity for them to be replaced by a government led by President Mahama. The second point is that President Mahama has made firm commitments about scrapping ex gratia and implementing sweeping, far-reaching political governance and economic reform. And therefore, that shows that Ghana is going to have much better management than we're having now. Now, let me respond quickly to something that Adam stated before you play those. He says, Dr. Akufo says, he will create fiscal space. You see, this is a contest between reality and fantasy. And if you are not careful, you will have the very thing that the NPP has done, making wild promises they had absolutely no idea how to fix. First of all, it appears that Dr. Akufo has not taken the trouble to properly assess the state of the economy that we are dealing with. You see, the economy that he managed as finance minister is a far cry from what we have today. At the time he became finance minister, our public debt was just 9 billion Ghana. Today, our public debt is 600 billion Ghana. Dr. Akufo was paying only millions in debt servicing per annum. Today, we are paying close to 70 billion Ghana cedis per annum to service our debt. So he must be realistic and stop creating the impression that he has a magic wand to create certain fiscal space. That fiscal space simply does not exist because of the situation that we are in. And it is that reality that President Mama is confronting and indicating that rather than bring on board new projects, it will be more prudent to complete the existing one so that you are not stretched thin in terms of resources and the ability to finance the budget, so that we do not fall back into this debt hole that we have been plunged into. Dr. Adufo has not told us how he claims to, be able to create the fiscal space that he's talking about. What that simply means is that we get a certain amount of money annually, and we use a certain portion of that. In 2021, we used 92% of our tax earnings to service debt. That is mandatory and obligatory. We cannot do anything about it. The rest will go into the payments of salaries and statutory funds. So any government taking over, that tells you that you will have fiscal space, is simply dreaming. We are engaging in fantasy. And it is important that such claims are scrutinized. The other point is that he claims that this is an internal concept, so there's no need to have a national competition. We said to differ. Look, there's no doubt about the fact that President Mama will emerge as victor by an overwhelmingly wide margin in this primary. But as we speak, the most important thing that is on the minds of Ghanaians, including NDC delegates, is how we are going to resolve the catastrophic national situation that we are in at the moment. And it is those things that President Mama is speaking to. He is not going into this with a tunnel vision, just grab some juicy promises for NDC delegates and with their mandate and not be able to do anything at the national level. For him, it is far important to have that national competition at the very beginning, so that everybody, including NDC delegates who are Ghanaians, are clear in their mind what we have to offer them in the event that it comes first. In any event, we are going to elect a flag bearer because we want the NDC to come to power under the leadership of a president that has come out of our stock. So we are not just focused on sprinkling promises to NDC delegates, who in any event have made up their mind to return President Mama to the slot. We think that anybody who wants to lead Ghana right at the onset must place his policy and programs on the table for scrutiny. That is why we have identified the waste in government as one of the reasons why we have not been able to make the sort of progress we need to make. So President Mama's prescription for that problem is to downsize government to a level where we have only about 60 ministers and deputy ministers. He has indicated that the legion of staff at the office of the president will become the thing of the past. He has said that our resources will be managed prudently. There will be no new major capital projects until and unless the existing and pipeline ones are completed. He has spoken about broad governance, political and economic reform. He has spoken about investments in agriculture, industry, telecommunications, energy, tourism, digital and the digital sector, and what have you. He has spoken about local participation in the Ghanaian economy. He has spoken about restoring confidence in the financial sector. And then he has spoken about strengthening state institutions so that they can deliver modern cutting-edge services to the people of Ghana. The Dufour policy platform at the moment is better. They are offering nothing beyond taking pot shots and attempting to take credit unilaterally for things that he alone cannot take credit. But we are not faced by that kind of politics. We think that the discourse has to be elevated far and over above what other people want to do. So these are the offers that President Mama is tabling before the people of Ghana. And we believe that this will be well received by NDC delegates who in any event will vote for him in their mandate, because they know for sure that he has stuck with the NDC all this while. He's a visionary and he has done it before.
Okay, and as we speak, the former president is still in the Volta region.
Yes,
just before I let you go, what's next for the campaign?
Yeah, so over the next 2 days, he will be in the Volta region, after which the itinerary for the next leg of the campaign will be announced.
I'm grateful. Thanks,
The
Felix,
pleasure
for joining us. Adam, let me take your thoughts before we go.
I mean, Felix claims that wishful, in my view. We've seen the former president respectfully. He's been an MP, he's been deputy minister, vice president, former president, and we saw what he did. The challenge before us is economy. And if you are looking for a leader we can trust, who, when he speaks to the issues, we trust and have the credibility, we don't think we need to look elsewhere. When we talk about Edge Gracia, we're having a leader who already offered his Edge Gracia and didn't take it. So you don't need you need to lead by example. And Dr. Dufo promising to lead us from the front has already demonstrated on the issue of Edge Gracia or having people taking benefits in excess. Secondly, this is a party contest, and I insist. The NDC had been to 2 elections under the same leadership Felix and his folks wanted us to trust. And what happened? We were embarrassingly defeated in 2016. We couldn't collate results. In 2020, the same group could not collate results. So the point is, if the vehicle is not strong, your journey will be short. So for us to even implement the things they are talking about, we need to have a strong party. Reason why Dr. Dufo is situating this contest, this grassroots, saying he's going to empower them. Reason why he's investing over 10 million in the constituencies, in the project.
Okay, but then now John Mahama has officially declared his intention. He's in the race now. Are you going to change your strategy? Because at first we didn't get that assurance that indeed he was going to contest. Now he's made his intentions very clear. Hello, Adam? Okay, it appears we've lost Adam. Antonio Ashinyo there, who speaks for the Do4 campaign, but this conversation will definitely continue. Let's speak about the economy now, since it's become topical. The Finance Ministry is reporting that its scheduled meetings and diplomatic engagements ahead of government's planned mission to the People's Republic of China is progressing well. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta yesterday concluded a 3-day engagement with a Chinese delegation visiting Ghana, which his outfit is describing as fruitful and highly cordial. About a week ago, the German ambassador to Ghana, Daniel Krul, claimed that the Asian country was unwilling to grant Ghana a debt relief.
Well, I think the government has taken the right steps, has reached out very actively. I don't see anything that anybody else could have done better. It is really at this point of time, it is really the question on how to convince particular China to come to the table. That is the key question right now. Because all the others, I mean, the Paris Club members have agreed, they are ready, but again, they are not willing to lower the request to Ghana, and with this financing the debts of China. I mean, that must be understandable for everybody. So we are ready to negotiate, but only if all the other creditors are willing, are taking up their responsibility in the same way.
Well, so this was about a week ago. However, after this initial negotiations, it is unclear if indeed China will now be available to restructure about $1.9 billion debt that Ghana owes that country. Of course, there you have your short ministers of foreign affairs and finance and the team from China that's been engaging with the government of Ghana over the past 3 days. We understand that a series of engagements have taken place. These are supposed to be individuals who are with the Chinese Import and Export Bank, obviously starting engagements ahead of that crucial mission that the finance minister is expected to travel on. About 2 weeks ago or a week ago, the finance minister gave his indications that he was not traveling to China as scheduled last week as a result of some changes there in terms of the arrangements that was scheduled to happen between officials of government and the People's Republic of China in their country. But given the fact that this delegation is in the country and has just concluded a 3-day period engagement, we're still awaiting an official announcement on when next the finance minister will be appearing and taking that delegation on a mission to China. We'll definitely update you on that and bring you some updates. But for now, you're watching The Pulse. When we return, we'll also switch to the NPP side. The race for the parliamentary candidates is heating up. We'll tell you about it when we get back. Please stay. And you're welcome back to The Pulse. The race is heating up within the New Patriotic Party. A number of candidates are emerging, seeking to take that opportunity once the party opens up nominations for its parliamentary candidates. In the Amenfi East constituency, one gentleman by name Ernest Frimpong is seeking to make a change in that constituency. He believes it's time for the New Patriotic Party to also benefit from his skills and leadership. He's joining us in studio now. Good afternoon to you, sir. Welcome to The Pulse.
Good afternoon.
It's good to see you. Of course, many would say that you already have an incumbent MP and he's been there for quite some time now. Why are you seeking to replace him? Do you know something that we're not aware of?
Thank you for the opportunity. I am honored to be on this show. I want to seize the opportunity to say a big thank you for the good work you're doing. And I'll greet my good people of Amenfi East. The constituency chairman, led by Nana Kofi Amankwa, and the entire team, my 28 affable electoral area coordinators, and 1,085 delegates.
You've started mapping out the delegates already. I'm sure that by now you've been to their homes, you've started talking to them. Are you sure that they're setting that you can, of course, take up that leadership role within the constituency?
I'm the only one they trust.
Really?
They believe in the New Direction, New Hope agenda, and so far so good, even though campaign has not started officially. But the interaction, the consultation and all is doing well. And the support from the people of Wasam and East is remarkable, and I'm grateful for the opportunity so far given me. And we're looking forward to see a brighter future together where we can take Amenfi East from where it is now to a better place.
Okay, for those who argue that, well, you're not known within the party, particularly within the Amenfi East constituency, what's been your contribution and your background to supporting the party in that area?
Thank you. I'm the most popular guy in the race. I'm very known. I was born and bred in Amenfi East, Wasajokwa to be precise. I schooled there until SHS, where I went to Kumasi and University in K University. So I've lived almost all my life in Amenfi East, doing one thing, serving the party NPP. And I started doing communication from 2016 up to date and still an active member. Everybody who knows me in Amenfi East knows me to be an NPP guy. And there's nobody who can attest that I am not known in the constituency and perhaps in the NPP. I want to come to give the New Hope, the New Hope dream that my people have a reality, to make sure we take the people from where they are now to a better place so that they also benefit from the national cake in terms of projects, in terms of personal development, in terms of everything that they deserve as Ghanaians and people in the NPP.
Okay. When you look at the Amenfi East constituency currently, what would you say is that pressing issue confronting the constituency, which has not been solved over the years, and that once you take up that leadership, that will be your agenda and it's something on your heart that you want to solve?
In this age, if somebody somewhere doesn't have access to network, it's an imprisonment for me, because without network, you are out of the world. 2, electricity. And funny enough, my government, the New Patriotic Party, over the last 6 years has done tremendously well in terms of rural electrification. We have not seen our own. We have not benefited, because we made a choice in 2020 to vote against an NPP MP. And from 2020 up to date, all projects are hot. Nothing is going on. And so me winning the parliamentary candidate seat alone will give me a capacity to take it up and do it.
Are you saying that the entire area, you don't have...
We have...
We have telecommunications connection? Is that what you're saying?
We have a number of them connected in our first term.
Okay.
Between 2017 to 2020, we had 15 communities. We connected 9.
Okay,
6
the argument
remaining.
is, so I want to be clear on that point. So if someone moves into the constituency now, they would not be able to place calls.
No.
Place phone calls. Okay.
There are a number of small cities, small towns
okay.
in the community. Okay. You know, my community is very scattered. It's not like that of Accra, where you can find one constituency within and then you can walk around. You know, you have to sometimes travel like 2 hours, okay, within one constituency before you'll be able to meet another town there who belongs to this particular constituency. And so, apart from Wasel Kropon, which is a municipal capital that is well, you know, good in all aspects of these things, there are other communities. There are a number of them lacking this facility. And the last 6 years, we secured 15. We were able to connect 9 in our first term. The second term, because we don't have an MP, nobody is pushing, and now the whole project is standstill. And that is why I have to come to be able to push it even before 2024 election. Rural electrification. We did a number of works. Some places, there are poles already, wires on them, and you only have to, you know, bring transformer and probably connect. And these programs are all in standstill. So I will come to give light where there's no light, to give network where there's no network, to do some monumental projects, because we are a party in power, right? We in the MPP, we are doing well.
But when you say that, that's where many will take you on. The fault of the politician, isn't it? You keep promising so much as MPs, parliamentary candidates, when you know so well that your duty is to make laws. Why won't you promise the people that, well, I'll get you good laws, I'll ensure that we push for policies that will help you? You keep making the promise about infrastructure, and when it doesn't get done, you get to be in trouble.
Of course, you and I know that if I go to parliament, I go to make laws. But in this country, you and I are also aware that we go to parliament to also help push for developmental projects. And so you need a capacity, because there are a number of projects going on. You would have to be an MP or an MCE before you can even push it through. So you need a capacity. That is why people seeking this mandate uses that opportunity to tell people that when I come, I will facilitate this. So you will be able to facilitate it. Of course, you get a capacity, you are connected, you get networks here and there, and you'll be able to help do 1 or 2 things, apart from going to parliament to make laws. And so, of course, we are going to make laws. We are going to make sure the best laws of this country get done and get passed to make sure the Ghanaian people are enjoying. But by doing so, my people, those who sent me, they also need to live comfortably. They also need to enjoy some level of comfort in their daily works. Schools, hospitals, clinics, and the youths, AstroTurfs. You know, this government, we've done so tremendously well. Over the last 6 years, we've completed 120 AstroTurfs, right? Still counting. We had 1. We need extra 2 or 3, and the constituency will be good. Talent in Amenfi East, and there are a number of them there. you need these facilities to, you know, bring these talents to bear. And that is what is important.
Okay. Your party, the New Patriotic Party, has not come out with that official date as to when, of course, you should be holding your primaries. In fact, at the presidential level is a different ballgame altogether. What's the difficulty? I mean, do you feel that you, the candidate, should be giving the opportunity to begin to campaign whilst the leadership sets the date, or you would want to wait on your leadership before you go all out to print your posters, to put your indications all out there that you're contesting? What's happening?
We trust the National Executive Council. We know they are doing whatever it takes to give us a date. And of course, there are no challenges because you are not allowed to even campaign. So your monies are in your pockets. You are not buying food or you are not doing anything. You have ample time to do broader consultation, to actually be able to, you know, identify your strengths and weaknesses, and then you work on them. The more they delay, the better for me. Because if they bring out a date now, you'll be pressured, go do this, get this thing done here and there, and then these things will probably come with a cost. So we know we will vote this year. Okay. Obviously, we will vote this year. The timing doesn't matter. What matters is that the best candidate for the party emerges, so that our next parliament, NPP will have more MPs than the NDC, while we seek to break the 8.
And on the breaking the 8 agenda, even before we get to breaking the 8, there's this next phase of reorganization that you'll be going into, which is the presidential race, right? That may run alongside the parliamentary. And we see this big divide within the NPP. Some going in for Alan Cash, some going in for Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. There are those going for Boakye Jako, and a host of others who have said, well, they want to lead the party as its next presidential candidate. Are you aligned as a candidate, an aspirant? Do you have your favorites among these people? Are you open about it that, well, this is the next phase of the NPP?
No, I cannot be opened, but I have a candidate in mind. And there's no division. That's a point of correction. Even in my constituency, 4 people are already out there who would want to pick forms. It's democracy, and in democracy, these things are allowed, you know. The party would have to, the party folks, the delegates, they need to have the opportunity to choose the best candidate for the party. The presidential election is the best time for party to even reunite. Because while you get a candidate already, the candidate has a responsibility to bring everybody on board to make sure we break the 8. And so for these petty things, I won't call it division. I call it election process. It's part of the process. Once you get it done and the election is over, the rest is that we are all NPP. Our common goal is to win political power. So if it's not you, it doesn't mean NPP cannot win political power. You understand? So yes, whoever wins will bring whoever contested on board and make sure we break the 8.
You're also going into that contest that's at the parliamentary level.
Yeah.
Between you and the others, do you have any other favorites just amongst the 4 names you've heard? If it's not you on that ticket for the NPP in the 2024 elections for the Amenfi East constituency, who else would you be going in for? I know it's a tough one, but you'd have to answer that.
Of course.
You have someone else?
I have myself, you know.
Oh, okay. So you are the only option?
I'm the only favorite. I'm the best option for the people of Amenfi East, you know. And then for the party NPP, I think the rest are doing their best. They keep pushing me to do better. They are the reason why I'm here.
Okay. So let's talk about the agenda to break the 8 for the NPP. The belief is that your party is no longer attractive. You may be losing the 2024 elections after all.
True.
So why should you be worried?
It is not true. It is not true. Our party is not attractive. We have at least Nigeria just ended election to use it as
an example.
As an example, because the economy in Nigeria is worse than that of the economy in Ghana. Nigeria is going through a very tough time, and yet they broke the 8. So we in the NPP, we only have to be focused and united, because the people of Ghana knows that we did not bring this problem to us, but the problem was external factor, COVID-19 here and there. There is a point in your life you have to do panic spending just to protect lives. That is what we did, and in so doing, we may make a mistake here and there, but at the long last, we are bringing back the economy. Fuel rose to 24 cedis. Today, it is 13 cedis, 80 pesos. Dollar was somewhere 16 cedis. We are talking about it now at 11. And so, yes, we are not there, but we will be there. That is why we keep on appealing to Ghanaians that the same faith and trust they had for us in 2016, they should give it to us, because there's no alternative. The alternative is as empty as that. Look at a party in opposition for 6 years, a party that has a leader who has been a president before and seeking to come back again. And the country is going through difficult times. We have not seen the president giving a single idea of how the country should even move.
You're not being fair to Joe Mahama.
I'm being fair to him,
he's
because
looking at a number of lectures. He's told you what to do. Cut down the cost, cut down the number.
You see, it's
part of the
everybody can just stay home and say cut down the cost, cut down the size of government. But even when we've cut down the size of government by 30%, they still can't see.
Okay.
They want us to remove ministers from office before they know that we've cut down size of government.
Okay, we need to go. What would be your message to the people of Amenfi East watching us right now? What message do you have to put across?
For now, I will focus on my delegates, the 1,117 delegates.
You know the exact number?
Of course. 1,117.
Are you paying them monies?
No, we can't pay them money.
Oh, okay.
You give them a good message.
We've seen people give cars, motorbikes.
Ah, really? Maybe they were helping individuals for a good work done for them. I don't believe we, the MPP, we buy votes, because we continue to provide good people, good materials for the good of this country.
So what will be your message to the people of Amenfi East?
What I have heard and what has been my conviction is that whatever you are doing, you have to also benefit from it. The people of Amenfi is the good delegates serving our party through thick and time deserve better. You understand? You cannot continue to suffer for the party, and when party comes to power, you are neglected. They are always saying, it is going to be a thing of the past, because we are going to push them to do better. We are going to put them in a position where people elsewhere will be interested in joining NPP. That is the focus. That is what we are coming to bring on board. That is why the call for a new direction, a new hope, has been a very big brand on its own, because the people believe that this is time for them to enjoy. They are Ghanaians. Whatever we are doing for Ghanaians, they deserve it. And that is what we are going to do.
Okay, then, and this conversation is just starting. I'm sure that when the contest itself goes on, you'll be picking the forms, and you'll be on that ballot where the delegates will have to decide. I'm grateful, Ernest,
Thank you,
that you've been able to join us here on the...
Before I leave, I have to say a big shout out to the Western Region NPP regional executives. They are doing a great job, led by Chairman Dedisia and my indefatigable regional woman organizer, Obapa Josephine. They are doing well. And Amenfi East, we have one person in the region, the former chairman. In fact, he's the longest serving chairman of NPP, that Dr. Nana Asafo-Achekwa-Kubadu, the regional first vice chairman. He is doing so well for the party. And then I want to say a big shout out to Wasai Kuropon Gold Bias. The boys are very smart. And
that's NSP for you. He's seeking to run as the MP for Amenfi East. But for now, we talk about residents and commuters along the Tema Highway. They are calling for the eviction of heavy trucks that have turned the Tema toll booth area into a parking lot, obstructing the free flow of traffic. Some of the residents say that they have observed an increase in the road crashes on that spot with no space at the Tema Harbour. Some of the drivers say that they are left with no other option than to park of course, their vehicles along that stretch to wait for documentation. Michael Ashele has been to the area and has more in the following report.
Heavy-duty trucks line up the shoulders of the highway, running as far as the eye can see. According to some of the drivers, they have no option than to park here while they wait for documentation for their cargo. Akwesi Techi is one of such drivers.
In the port, if you load, there is no place for you to park again. There is no parking place from Tema to this place, and even from this place to Achimota or something. There is no parking place. The place where we can find a comfortable place to park, and our people too haven't ready yet. So unless you find some place to park, so that when your people come, then you go. But apart from this place, there is no place for us to park again. That's why we are always parking here.
Their presence here only exposes many motorists to untold danger, and some of the truck drivers even agree.
We know that we are disturbing, but we don't have any option.
While waiting for their documents, some drivers inspect their vehicles and others simply use the time to rest. Some of the drivers explain that some agents at the Tema Harbour offload their cargoes onto their trucks to avoid paying demurrage at the port. While parked there, some drivers say they are harassed by some city authorities. Al-Hassan Tahiru is a victim.
Just yesterday, they come. I wasn't inside the car. They just come and opened my gate and they took my key.
For what exactly?
They said we should. Yes, we have no option to park here, so we're supposed to live here. We're supposed to park our cars and go. And when they came to my car, I wasn't there. They just opened the gate. They took the key. I don't know where they have sent with the key.
More drivers report same. They say it only prolongs their illegal stay at the site.
Yesterday, I was there. When I started the car to move, he said I shouldn't move the car. He off it and removed the key. And said, I don't know where he sent the key. Yesterday he came there and said that he's going to lock the car. And I said no. Then let me move the car. He said no, I shouldn't move the car. And off it. When I started, he himself climbed and off it and remove the key and go. Why? And we don't know where he sent the key. So if we are even ready to go, we can't go. So if my car caused accident now, it's you who rather cause the accident, not me.
I'm dead, and the police people came. They came and told me that I should move the car away. I'm even ready to spark it, and they said no. They have arrested me, so I have to pay before I go. And I say, oh, I have nothing. I've been here because of money. I have nothing here. That's all. So they should just give me a little time. If I get to the edge, if anything, I'll confirm. And they took my license and my car key. They went with it. I don't even know where they are now. I don't even know.
So what are you going to do now?
So right now I'm just waiting for them. If they come, alhamdulillah, I will find a way that I will do and get my key. But the money that they say I should pay, I bet if I get the money, I'm not going to pay.
And the true matter is that the whole Tema, first Tema was sweet, but now Tema is not good again. When you park at Tema, anywhere you park, Tema Gapua, let me say, Habwan Gapua, they will come and lock your car.
But not everyone agrees with the drivers.
The parking place is small. But from there to the Bognaza there, if they not park there, it's good because that place is causing big accidents.
He only gave his name as Nathaniel. He observed that the number of accidents around the toll booths have increased since the trucks started parking there. He says the drivers must be forced to evacuate the shoulders of the road.
To take over this situation for toll booths here. People who exist that here is plenty people. Because of this parking of the drivers, then parking for the toll booth. So if we give him there some place, let's give him another place to go and park. Because last year, almost about, since the time them blocked toll up to December of last year, almost about 90 people was dying here.
Nathaniel says the local authorities are yet to respond to his many appeals.
Why? Come and see Bola for the back here. So many ballers. I went to Ashama municipality AMC or CPP or say, oh, why? There. You throw me away to tell me that I should go police.
But the drivers insist if they had an alternative, they would have moved.
We are not here for fun. We are just not here for fun. If we have some place to park, we will not even park here. Say that they should talk to the Gapore people. Okay. The time that they will release us at the harbour place, they have to make sure that they give our papers, our advance. If I get my money and my papers, there is no need for me to come and park here again.
So all of what we need is before they can ask us not to park here, government have to find a place for us so that even, I don't know, other Tema or this place, they should find a place for us. When we park, we finish, we'll go and park there. And we will not find difficult to pay the money that they will be correcting that.
While local authorities take their time to react to this growing concern, the menace continues to fester. For JoyNews, Michael Ashale.
Okay, let's stay on this a bit longer. The MC for the area, that's a Chairman Albert Bochieltri, is joining us right now. Thanks, Honourable, for your time. So you've heard in our report some of the residents who say they have lodged several complaints at your office, and yet not much is being done about this. What are you doing to solve the problem? Really?
Hello.
If you can hear me, Honourable, I was just talking about the reports. Residents complaining that they've been at your offices asking you to do something about what's happening on the highway. Exactly what are you doing to solve the concerns?
I'm not getting the school thing.
Hello, sir.
I'm not getting the feedback.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm asking what you're doing about the concerns by residents that you have this haulage tracks parking along the shoulders of the highway.
Of the highway?
Yes.
Yes, the menace has been there for some time now. We've tried to use a round table to get them out. At the last research meeting, the MCTD were charged to meet with the leadership of the transport union that fly along the motorway. That has been done. They haven't needed to whatever concerns that we have expressed. And of course, it's a general concern of the public. So today, we embarked on a very serious action against them by getting all of them out of that place. And I can bet you, today marks the end of their parking in that place, those areas. But what we intend to do, we have just discovered some few areas around where we can properly organize them. If really they have a reason to remain in town, then they can park in those places for a fee. But to allow them to park anyhow, as it has been done in the past, I think that is not going to happen anymore.
How about the concerns regarding the Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority?
Of course, they are concerned. What is their concern?
The fact that they are not being allowed to park in there. It explains why, of course, they are parking where they are, waiting for documentation to be processed. Of course,
the people have business with Ghana Port and Harbour Authority. So for any reason which they come to park here, I think they should be able to make room for them within their space around their area. If there is any genuine reason why the people should remain, I think they should be able to handle that one.
Yeah, but I'm asking the question because I wanted to find out if you're doing any facilitation, at least just to reach out to the Ports and Harbour Authority, tell them about what's happening, so the processing could be expedited.
Yeah, because my belief that as soon as they leave the vicinity of Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority, their business with the GPHA ends. They are to move and go. Unless GPHA have any reason why we should keep the people. And I know for fact that they have a yard. GPHA has prepared a very beautiful yard at Conjunction. So if there is any good reason why the people to be kept, I believe that is the area where they should be.
Okay, you were indicating earlier that today marks the end of the exercise, or you're actually flushing all of them out by the end of today.
At least within our jurisdiction.
Oh, okay. If that doesn't happen, because some of them are protesting that, if that doesn't happen, what are we likely to see? Are you deploying the police about this?
What are they going to protest against? Because there is nowhere in this West African zone where you can just move a car, go and park anywhere, and move at any time at your own convenience. There is nowhere, except maybe you can help me to identify any of the countries around where you go and park your car anywhere and leave it.
Are you mindful of the implications for business? Because it's also an economy creating some sort of jobs for some people.
We are not saying they should not do their business. Please get me right.
Okay.
As for their business, we have no concern about it at all. But you don't do your business at the displeasure of the many of the people. There have been accidents along that path where they park at the two shoulders of the roads, and visibility becomes very difficult and challenging.
Okay. Well, so
as for their business, they can do their business without any harms from anywhere. Nobody is talking about their business.
Okay. We'll wait and see. The exercise will obviously be rounding off within a day or two, but we're grateful, Honorable Albert Ochre, that you're speaking to us here on The Pulse. And don't forget that there's also the talk about the conservation group Arocha Ghana. They are describing as much the assertion by the Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abuja that the ecological integrity of Ghana's forest reserves have been largely maintained. According to them, the extensive damage from Galamsey, clear feeling and of course farming in some forest reserves are yet to be restored. It cannot be concluded on the part of Arocha. What they feel is that Ghana's forest reserves have still been depleted. Well, Lava Firm's investigations have revealed recent footage of the river Ankobra regaining its ecological integrity as a mirage, as Shangfang operators mine directly on the riverbed. There's more in this report.
Rising northeast of Seshiyoso in the western North region, the river Ankobra flows about 190 kilometers south to the Gulf of Guinea. About 2 weeks ago, pictures of a green-looking river Ankobra taken at the Sangoma estuary in Axim took over social media. The taglines indicated government's illegal mining fight was gaining ground with the clearing of the river. We set out on a fact-finding mission on the flow path of the Ankobra. After hours on the road, we hit the coastal town of Axim. We proceeded to Sangoma or Ankobra town, where the river meets the sea. This is where pictures of the green Ankobra were taken. Instead of a green-looking river, we saw a dirty-looking Ankobra polluting the green sea. Residents here share how they feel about assertions that the Ankobra has regained its former glory.
Why is it that they are saying something which is untruthful to the nation, to the public? Because they should have told the public the truth that the river is totally bad, but it is because of the high tide of the sea that is coming through the river water. So that one looks a little bit clear, and they took that picture. So I feel very bad.
unto them. Sensuni yira, about the channel I do abano adan sunu nyu kakra. Senya sunu se ochero oyero tweno akọ ponuma. Boom na dam su yiwaba.
Me ya wo no February. Satam we isu anya yellow da. Aye green up to March. Chile April, May. That's a switch from Asana, so yellow one abba. Next year from January, February, March. Still so yellow no, I don't know. Integrams one more down yet.
I am sitting in the middle of two great water bodies. To my left is the sea, and to my right is the river Ankobra. Behind me is the estuary. This is where the two meet. Now there is this confusion over whether the Ankobra is clearing and it is green, and we've seen some green videos of the Ankobra right from this point. Those pictures were taken. Now let me explain to you. At high tide, the sea here, which is green, washes over. All this place gets flowing with seawater, and it washes over the Ankobra to that end. The sea is green. The river Ankobra is yellowish now. It covers it. The whole place is green. Beautiful, isn't it? That is what we expect the river Ankobra to look like. Unfortunately, it doesn't look that way. This is the real color of the Ankobra as we speak. Polluted right from the source. It ends this controversy. But if anybody is serious about this, this is a serious pollution matter. Because as you look at the estuary, even close to the sea, you can see the color of the sea from this point right up there, as far as the drone can see, turning yellow in the color of the Ankobra. Until we see a high tide, which they say is 2 hours away, which will wash the sea green water over the Ankobra, the situation is a highly polluted Ankobra, which is now polluting the sea. Reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asaredonko, Ankobra, Western Region.
Back here in Accra, former gender minister Nana Oye Bampo Ado says the best way to getting solutions to the challenges victims of sexual and domestic violence go through is to get them shelter, psychological and physical support. According to her, getting them such support will encourage victims to leave abusive partners. She was speaking at the launch of Operation Underground Railroad in Ghana, of course, which is being spearheaded by an NGO focused on fighting gender-based violence.
Operation Underground Railroad is a non-profit organization involved in the rescue of human trafficking and sex trafficking victims based in the United States. The organization's special focus is on children and a wider goal of eliminating sex trafficking worldwide. The launch of the group here in Ghana merged with the work of the Abuse Relief Corps, another non-governmental organization established in 2015. The organization focuses on women and children living in Ghana and suffering from the incidences of abuse in the forms of sexual, psychological, and physical to come forward and seek immediate help. Speaking at the official launch of our Ghana, the country manager, Fred Akwete, noted that the measure will help improve the impact on society.
Thank you very much. This measure provides us with a very great opportunity to expand our capacity to respond to the needs of sexual abuse survivors and sex trafficking crimes that we've been helping in Ghana since. So this measure provides us with more resources. It expands our capacity and our turnaround time, how quickly we respond to the needs of survivors of sexual abuse and child sex trafficking. We also look forward to supporting Ghana Police heavily in their operations to be able to bust child sex trafficking rings in Ghana.
Former Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Nana Oye Bampo Ado, also urged the government to dedicate more resources to the fight against gender-based violence in the country.
Government should devote more resources. We have shelters in Greater Accra. We need to have shelters in every region. My recommendation is that we should have shelters in every region. And I'm hoping that the Ghana Police Service Department of Social Welfare, Ministry of Gender, Ministry of Interior. By now, we should map out the hotspots. Where are the places where we are getting defilement a lot? Where are the places where we are getting rape a lot? Where are the places where we are getting domestic violence a lot? Let's do a mapping. Now we have all the IT and the technology so that we can focus and address those issues in those particular geographic areas.
The founder of Abuse Relief Corps, Robin Jessien, asks all to make protection of the right of women and children a personal responsibility.
I remind you, none of us are free until we're all free. We all here today must make a pledge to continue to fight until all shackles are broken free and until all the women and children of Ghana can rejoice in this nation's creed for freedom and justice.
The organization also donated 10 laptops to the Ghana Police Service to aid in combating sexual crimes and child trafficking in Ghana. A report by Prince Kwame Kuduga read to you.
So let's check out what's happening elsewhere, because this week negotiations from the United Kingdom and the European Union struck a deal on a new trade regulation in Northern Ireland, putting an end to the long simmering debate that had strained relations between Brussels and London since Brexit. The deal, called the Windsor Framework, still needs to be approved by the UK Parliament, but marks a major breakthrough for the post-Brexit relationship between the EU and the UK. So let's speak now to Emily Scholes, who's joining us now. But Emily, what exactly is included in this new deal and why is it so contentious?
Well, so this deal has to do with trade regulations between the European Union and the United Kingdom, in specifically with relation to Northern Ireland. And this has been an issue thus far because Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK, is on the same island as the Republic of Ireland, which is part of the European Union. And so up until this point, any goods that have passed into Northern Ireland, since there's no land border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, there's been the question of how do you deal with customs, how do you deal with trade regulations for things that are coming in to Northern Ireland. And so thus far, the way that that's been handled is that anything passing through Northern Ireland was also subject to many of the same regulations that EU countries have to deal with. And now what they're going to deal with in terms of this new trade deal is that any of the goods passing into Northern Ireland can now be on two tracks, a red track and a green track, and things intended for Northern Ireland, which is still in the UK, will be subject to fewer EU regulations than those intended to go on to the Republic of Ireland.
And how has the Northern Ireland question impacted the relationship between the European Union and, for instance, the UK since Brexit was formalized?
It's definitely been a tricky few years for the relationship between the EU and the UK. You know, Brexit really changed everything about how that relationship looks. And so in the past few years, particularly in the years since Brexit was finalized and since the transition period was over, which was 2 years ago, it really has been a struggle, and there have been a lot of tensions between the two in sort of figuring out what that relationship should look like going forward. And in that context, the question of Northern Ireland remained one of the trickiest, sort of biggest sticking points in those negotiations. And the fact that this has now been, in theory, this deal has been sorted out, that means that this is kind of closing one of these final tension points in that relationship and hopefully making things a little bit easier between the two sides going forward.
But looking into the future, what still needs to happen for this deal to move forward?
Well, at this point, the deal now goes to the UK Parliament, which needs to approve it for everything to formally go into effect. And Rishi Sunak, who is the Prime Minister of the UK, came into office just a few months ago. For him, getting this deal on the table in the first place is definitely a big victory. The question is now whether his own Conservative Party will back it in the Parliament when it goes to a vote. And thus far, the indications look quite positive. There are some sort of very pro-Brexit members of his party that have indicated that they plan to support the deal. And so at this point, we'll have to wait until the vote happens, and that's kind of the next big step in making this deal a reality. Well, thanks, Emily Shows, joining us from our partners, DW. And that's all we have for you here on The Pulse. Log on to myjoyonline.com. We'll see you again. Bye-bye for now.